not a drill. Repeat. Action station. Action station. Set condition 1 throughout the ship. This is not a drill.
Previously on Battlestar Galactica Deadlock.
We're only one jump from Serenus. Jubal will want to know you're okay.
Jubal Sarkis can go to hell. Just give me a Raptor and I'll be gone. Don't pretend any of us want anything other than that.
We could use your help.
No, you can't. Your problems are piling up more than I can help you with. Killing Lachesis will barely register as a hiccup for Atropos. This was not a solution. At least not for you.
You won't even reconsider for your family.
They have already mourned me, and I them. No child will grow to fulfillment in this tepid soil. I am just a name whispered on Hallow Morn in the Kane household now. Just don't forget the people you're fighting for. There's no victory in being right if you drag them down with you. Goodbye, Silas. Good luck.
So say we all.
So say we all.
Greetings fellow gamers and commanders, this is of course your host Uncle Fester 382. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to discuss the upcoming Season 2 final DLC, which is going to be released later this month, which is entitled Armistice. Now there's quite a few bits and pieces that are going to be coming out, as well as the new DLC. We'll discuss all of them in this video and talk about the canon side of Battlestar and also look at this as well. So Armistice is going to be a new 8-mission story campaign, which is supposed to be set in the final days of the First Cylon War. On top of that, we're going to get new resource missions. We're going to get 9 of them, which can be used in any Season 2 campaign. So you could use them in Resurrection, you can use them in Ghost Fleet, and obviously the new one, the Armistice, which is coming out. There's also going to be 3 new music tracks. So obviously since Season 2 started, there's been a great expansion on the amount of music that's been used in the game, and it's quite well being complemented based on the music that we heard in the reimagined Battlestar series. So the final chapter is all set just after the Ghost Fleet offensive, and the Cylons are now losing their iron grip on the war, as we saw at the end of Ghost Fleet. But then all of a sudden there is whispers of a new super weapon which reaches the Colonial Fleet. So Galactica and BSG 75 embark on a race against time to uncover the Cylon secret and prevent the annihilation of the human race. So Armistice has been put to us as an explosive 8-mission story campaign. Now you've got to remember that in Resurrection and in Ghost Fleet there were all 10 missions. So this one is 2 missions shorter, so it should be more fiery, more involved and more straight into action compared to what we had with Ghost Fleet. And it's all supposed to be around the unravel of Clothos's plot for domination. We saw how he helped us at the end of Ghost Fleet, and it's also on top of that we're going to also get the legendary Operation Raptor Talon. So Raptor Talon was, if any of you have seen Battlestar Galactica Razor, there was a clip in there where the young Commander Adama was on the ice planet and found all the mutilations that the Cylons had done to various humans within the complex there. And the ending scene was him contacting the Galactica, and there was a ship flying off that looked very much like a primitive version of the modern base star, and he was basically telling the Galactica that they were making something down here, and then it was declared that the Armistice had been signed. So it'd be very interesting to see. Obviously, there is references in the canon as far as what the Armistice is. There's no exact information on what Armistice is, the details of it, how it happened. All we know from canon is Simtar, which is a place mentioned in the reimagined series called the Simtar Peace Accord. This was seen in the documents in the pilot episode of the reimagined Battlestar Galactica, and that document was held by the Armistice officer at the Armistice station. Now, that peace accord ended the Cylon War, and the story was told that the Cylons left for a world to call their own. Obviously, we all know that some 40 odd years later, the Cylons broke that accord and annihilated the 12 colonies. So we've got some information how they're going to work this, because the ice planet was never where they created the mutilations. There was no name ever given, it was just some random planet. But we know that one of the scenes within that series was a military operation which took place, and it was supposedly the 4,571st day of the first Cylon War, and we know that it involved the Battlestars Galactica and Columbia, and there was a number of other colonial vessels that took part in that mission. Now, all we know is that the objective was to attack an unnamed ice planet, and that was rumoured to house a Cylon super weapon. So we know that there's going to be an ice planet, we just don't know what it's called, what they're going to call it. All we know is that what the name of the peace accords were, what ended it all, and we just know from canon what happened during that. We know that Columbia got destroyed by missiles. So yeah, be interesting to see. I'd also like to see William Adama finally come into it, because he was obviously part of that. He was part of the Viper Squadron from Galactica, and so yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, so as part of the Armistice, we're also going to get a free Daybreak update. Now, there's a lot of new features coming, and a few of them which I'll list now is photo mode. So we've already got the photo mode, but this new photo mode is supposed to enable you to pause the action during your replays, and which we can already do, and capture stunning screenshots of your epic battles. Features a host of customization tools, including fly-through camera controls, depth of field, color balancing, and filters. PC users can also get the ability to use the captures that they get from that as the loading screens. So unfortunately, we're not going to get that on consoles. Maybe they'll look at possibility or the feasibility of doing that in the future. Okay, we're also going to get an increase on the fleet caps, which is great. You know, at the moment on console, maximum is 8,000. So what they're talking about doing is the caps for the fleet are going to be increased to 16,000 points and 10 ships for skirmish, multiplayer and operation and a basis. Multiplayer includes 2 new fleet point tiers, a 12k and a 16k for matches. Now, this is slightly different on console because I believe they haven't been able to do it all the way up to the 16. I believe we've got up to 12k. I'm sure I've read that somewhere that we have got, unfortunately, we have got a limit on what we're going to have. It's all due to obviously the Xbox system and the limitations that you have there. So okay, so moving on, there's going to be some multiplayer enhancements, and the enhancements are demolition in demolition mode. So one of the games that you're going to be able to do on that mode is one fleet is tasked with destroying a mission critical station, the other with defending it at all costs. The attacking player wins if the station is destroyed. There's also going to be an extraction mode. That mode will enable a refugee fleet of defectors is ambushed while their FTL drones are spooling. In extraction, the defending player wins when at least one civilian ship jumps out of the battle. Another multiplayer ability we're going to get is called Propaganda, which is a strategic satellite relay. It is ready to broadcast your political manifesto, but you will have to fight for control of the network. The more satellites you control, the faster your opponent's counter decreases. The match ends when one player's counter reaches 0. The player with the most points wins. So also included in the update is going to be some custom team colours to select your own personal style, more cooperative mode Talon fleets to choose from and challenge. There's going to be fleet builder improvements, so the quality of life improvements to the fleet builder UI to make composing your epic fleets faster. It's also going to include more filter options when searching for your favourite build. So at the moment we all know that we could do with that. What they're also going to be bringing in with this update is an accuracy printout panel. So when selecting a focus fire target, information will be displayed for any weapon type that can hit that target, including your current accuracy rating versus that particular opponent. You're also going to get pre-battle fleet list. So while fighting the Cylons in any of the story campaigns, you can now view your fleet list before proceeding to the upcoming battle. There's also going to be some combat balancing that they're going to be doing, and as well as a host of updates and balancing changes, which is going to include exclusion ranges for tactical jump, reworking of the eradicated cluster bomb and the EMP mechanics, subsystem repair rate boost added to the defender's tech supportability, mines can now be disarmed mid-armament. Also there's going to be some balancing updates for the Cylon and Colonial fleets. I haven't got into details with that, but we know that there are going to be some. And obviously a lot of performance improvements which are all designed to fix various bugs and just improve the overall performance for all the platforms. So that's 2 of the 3 things that are going to be coming out. So the last one, and maybe one of the best ones, I'll leave that up to you. And Slytherin have announced that they're going to be bringing out a modern ships pack. So this modern ships pack is going to have all the modern ships in it that we've seen in the Reimagined series. So I'll go through all the different ones that we're going to have, and we'll start with the Colonial Ships. So with the Colonial Ships, probably one of the most anticipated and sought after ships that we've been waiting to come into this game is the Mercury class. So the Pegasus. So the Mercury class Battlestar was and is a pinnacle of Colonial fleet design. It's supposed to be a lot more powerful and better armoured than the Jupiter class and amongst other ships, so Valkyrie class as well. And it's also supposed to have a lot better fighters. Now there's various information around, there's canon information as far as the armaments and the abilities and the fighter squadrons of the Mercury class. However, in Deadlock we'll have to see. You've also got to remember that we know the Mercury at the end of the destruction of the colonies, so it was somewhat different. So prime example would be the computer systems on the Pegasus from the TV show. There was talk and information put on there which said that all the computers on there were networked and that the fire control systems on the Pegasus were computer controlled or automated. However, we learned that because the Cylons had got into the system, that soon changed, and they were all switched then to manual to try and avoid the Cylons getting into the network system. So it'd be interesting to see when the Mercury comes out. Obviously there's been some videos floating around that Slytherin have released for that ship, so can't wait for that to come out. And obviously price wise we don't know yet either, but obviously won't be long until we find out. Okay, so the second ship to come out, and obviously we've just spoke about it, so it's going to be the Colonial Valkyrie. So the Valkyrie is supposedly smaller than the Jupiter class, and it's supposed to be a smaller frame, but it's more heavily armed. So it'd be interesting to see what Slytherin and Black Labs have done with this one. And obviously we only saw snippets of it. So we saw it in Battlestar Galactica: The Plan. We saw it in some flashback clips of the Mission Hero from the reimagined series. So we didn't really see much of this Valkyrie ship. We didn't really see it in action. We didn't really see a lot other than obviously what was in the TV show and what we got in the plan. So not really a lot known about this ship. It's supposed to be being made to be more manoeuvrable, because we know that the Jupiter isn't that manoeuvrable, and it's supposed to have supposedly a better artillery package, but obviously we will see. Okay, the third ship they're bringing out is going to be, you can't have the Mercury and the Valkyrie without the Mark 7 Vipers. So the Mark 7 Vipers were the Vipers that we saw in the original remastered pilot episode, and obviously the Mercury only had these ships, and so it makes sense for them to bring them in with this modern ship package. So that's all the ships that we're going to get with the Colonial Ships. Moving on to the Cylon ships. Obviously they're bringing the Mercury, the Valkyrie and Mark 7 Viper out, so it only makes sense that they bring out the modern base star. So that base star is the one that we've seen in the reimagined series all throughout it. So the firepower on that ship will be interesting to see. Will be interesting to see what Black Labs and Slytherin have done with it. They've always been very careful to stick to the confines and the information that we've had in canon, and they've tried to do the show justice by sticking to what we know as much as possible. So it'd be great to see what they've done with the modern base star. The second ship we're going to bring out is the Guardian base star. So anybody who doesn't know what the Guardian base star is, it was the base star prototype. It was the one that came out before the modern base star. It was the, if you like, the blueprint for the modern base star. It also housed the original hybrid that we saw throughout the series, and it was seen a lot in the Razor episodes when the Pegasus jumped to find a missing Raptor and came across the old Cylon disc fighters, and then obviously they boarded the Guardian base star and destroyed it. So we're going to get the Guardian base star, so that'll be interesting to see. Again, we didn't see much with the Guardian base star, so its abilities are going to be interesting. Obviously they've put it down as the development of it shrouded in secrecy. Apparently it was understood to have escaped the Operation Raptor Talon. That was the ship that William Adama looked at as it flowed off, as he spoke to the Galactica to tell them that they were making something down here. So yeah, be interesting to see more with that ship. We're also going to get the third ship for the Cylons. Is going to be the modern Cylon fighter. Again, makes sense. So it's the ultimate evolution of Cylon fighter technology. Be interesting to see what they've done with this fighter. Obviously, from the series, all the Cylon fighters in there was a few episodes where there was reference to that the Cylon fighters, the machines that are flying them, are also, when they die, they're also resurrected. So they learn every time. They learn how to be better killers. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with that. So yeah, that is the modern ships pack. It is important to note, however, it has been said by Slytherin that the modern ship pack will not be playable in the story campaigns. So you can't dive into, Operation Raptor Talon with a Mercury class modern Battlestar, and absolutely destroy the hell out of the Cylons. You're not going to allow us to do that. So yeah, we're getting quite a big update, and I have spoken to Slytherin regarding this, well, mainly Black Labs as well, and because for the last two DLCs that we've had out, the last two campaigns, so when they brought Resurrection out, we had to wait a couple of weeks until it came out on the consoles, and then when it did come out on the consoles, we had some frame rate issues which needed to be resolved before we could all start playing the campaign. Equally, if we forget about coronavirus and the delay that caused on Ghost Fleet coming out, when Ghost Fleet first came out, was, we'll say, a few weeks afterwards, because I think if it weren't for coronavirus it would be a few weeks later. So when they brought that out, same again, we had a frame rate issue, and we also unfortunately had a save game issue. Now historically, when they've done these massive updates to the usability of the software, the gameplay, and also brought out a new DLC, there's always been issues with the consoles. However, I hope they took something from that and learned that they do have problems, and it is rumoured from Slytherin, I've actually even got it in writing, that supposedly, and I hope this is true, that the new Armistice DLC will be landing on the consoles and the PC on the 24th of September. So less than a week from recording this until it comes out, so I'm very interested to see what they've done with Armistice, how they've brought a lot of the shroud from the information that we have on how the Armistice was declared. We know what happened, we know that it was declared and the Guardian base star flew off with the first hybrid. However, we don't know how the Cylons went from having the 3 IL models to, obviously we destroyed one at the end of Ghost Fleet, and obviously with the 2 left, how, given what the goals were from the original Deadlock story all the way through to where we are now, how we've gone from Cylons going to war, and then all of a sudden now somehow we're going to get to an armistice, especially after what happened at the end of Ghost Fleet. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, and we'll there are some theories about. I think one of the theories I'd have is it was to buy time. If you look at the sheer amount of ships that they came back with after the 40 years to obliterate the 12 colonies, I would say it was a tactical move. Perhaps my theory was perhaps that they got what they needed, they got all that they wanted from humans, and they wanted to go off and spend 40 years arming themselves, updating themselves, creating better killers, better centurions, better ships, better everything, to then come back and kill their creators. So that's my theory. Obviously everybody's got their own. By all means, if you want to discuss your theories with me, then put it in the comments below and we'll talk about it. love talking about the show, love talking about the game and how they've moved on with it. So yeah, anything you want to do. So anyway, yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and obviously we haven't got long now until the 24th of September when this game is supposed to be launched across PC, Xbox and the PS4. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please consider hitting that like button, and if you like the videos on my channel, please consider subscribing. So I will see you on the 24th with the new DLC, but for now, happy gaming.